checking out your website, smartcherrytech.com. It's a big AWS fan myself.
Yeah.
A lot of
So
good stuff on there.
yeah. So how is that? How is my content?
How do I make content? For me, I prefer AWS myself. Generally, I'll use a lot of content management systems, whether it's WordPress, GoCMS is another favorite one of mine, Magento, Joomla. I mean, there's a ton out there. I guess there's new CMS every day. So for me, as a developer, even when I was still freelancing, it's nice to have something that's already pre-built, that's open source, I can give to a client. It's like, hey, you can create all your own content right here without having to contact me every single time. So that just offers them tremendous value, as well as makes things a little bit more manageable for me.
Awesome. So firstly, I want to thank you for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I was pretty excited to get the invite. First time doing this.
First time.
I usually just hide behind a computer and just get stuff done,
Wow. So you're giving your first interview online.
Oh, can you say that one more time?
You're giving your first interview online.
Oh, yes, this is my first interview online. Well, I guess at least for social media and channel, plenty of tech interviews.
Awesome.
I guess that's just part of getting into tech too. Is I will always say is like be prepared to go through a few awkward interviews and royally mess them up, and that's okay. That's how you learn. It's like learning how to do a tech interview is a skill in itself.
So I've gone through your profile and I came to know you're into multiple platforms in IT industry.
Absolutely. I guess for me, I've heard kind of both schools of thought. Try to specialize in something, and especially if you're working full time, that makes a lot of sense. But for me, it's a little hard to get my foot in the door without a college degree and just some coding boot camp experience. So for me, freelancing was how I started getting some real projects and some real income. And that kind of required me to be more of a jack of all trades, to be more open to different type of jobs. But it was a great way to get paid and also learn.
Yeah. So you don't have the tech background. You don't have education in technical subjects.
I was working on my associates, one that is involving land security, but honestly, for me personally, college was just kind of it teaches you some good things like design patterns, but it wasn't going fast enough pace for me, and it's like, especially with the way technology moves, there's to me, in my opinion, you need to be a self-learner regardless of having a degree or not to be able to make it in today's tech field.
So before talking more about you, can you please introduce yourself to my audience and to the world who is watching and listening to you?
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time?
Before talking more about yourself and about the work that you are doing, about the projects that you did, can you please introduce yourself to the people who are watching you and who are listening to you across the world, who is watching from anywhere on this planet?
Oh, kind of some of the previous projects I've done?
I want you to introduce yourself to my audience.
Oh, introduce myself. Sorry. Hey guys, I'm Ryan. I'm a full stack developer, also a veteran as well. Been in the tech industry for, in various roles, everything from full stack development to system admin to network admin. I've kind of had my hands in a little bit of everything. And even in my Army days, I was running Cat 5 and Cat 6, and, although I was an Intel analyst, it still required me understanding networks and a lot of computer science, amongst other things. But for me, it kind of gave me a good step ahead into InfoSec as well, which to me is a little bit different from just strictly cybersecurity, but still extremely relevant skill set to computer science, especially when it comes to ongoing DevOps. Learning how to lock down, secure not only your application but the data that application is using as well.
Awesome. So you're completely into you're a full stack developer from long time, and at the same time you worked as a system admin.
Yeah, so not all these jobs at once, but just kind of a slow progression. I started off as doing system admin stuff, did a network admin at a small internet service provider, and then freelance for doing full stack development mostly, and then now I'm actually on a cybersecurity team as their PHP developer, where essentially it's like not only am I developing a full stack application, but making sure that application doesn't have vulnerabilities in it, such as what I usually refer people to is check out OWASP. I forget what the whole acronym stands for, but basically what they do is they'll list some of the top vulnerabilities, and they have a really good one for full stack where they'll talk a lot about SQL injection, cross-scripting, and like misconfiguration issues that get people caught up. So if you're trying to, beef up what skills sets you have to offer as a full stack developer, there's definitely some niche clientele out there that having a secure application is to the utmost importance to them, not just having it functioning properly.
So what are the tools as a full stack developer? You're responsible for backend, front end, and the middleware. So what are the tools that you use usually?
That's a good question. Is there any particular? It all depends on the job, really. Is there any particular job you like me to talk about? Like
Yeah,
maybe more
the
full stack
present job.
development or
Yeah,
cybersecurity?
yeah.
Just all of it? Okay. For full stack, honestly, some of my favorite, I guess I'll start on the front end. So I'm a React guy, shout out to Vue. And I never really quite liked Angular, but, personal opinion. They all have their place, I think. But for me, for React, I use Next.js or Gatsby.js, just depending on the application. Kind of what makes me decide which one to go with is if most of the information is going to be static, like kind of think like an e-commerce site that they're always going to be selling mostly the same products every day. So it makes sense not to have a server render that every single time a client visits your website, and take advantage of static hosting, which essentially you're just storing stuff in like an S3 bucket in AWS, and it's the client side that's doing all the rendering. They just download it to the browser. You don't need a server to serve that out, and it's super cheap, super easy to scale the front end. You don't even have to worry about throwing in a container or doing like Kubernetes with it. To me, it's like, especially if you're trying to get into serverless, static hosting, awesome. But there are some limitations. So if you need dynamic content, think about like maybe live bidding when products are constantly cycling, the price is changing always. It's never going to be static. So that's kind of when I start leaning towards Next.js. Although both Gatsby and Next.js can both serve static and dynamic content, I just think Next.js does a better job and is more developer friendly for delivering that dynamic content. But you kind of see what I'm saying. It just kind of depends on the nature of the project. If a lot of things are going to be static, Gatsby makes sense. If a lot of things are going to be dynamic, Next.js makes more sense. But there's also the Vue equivalent of Gritsum and I forget the other one, but there's the Next.js, Nux, Nuxt.js. That's the Vue version of it. Just remembered, but definitely suggest checking out both of those front ends. And then I guess another thing I've been kind of getting into that'd be worth mentioning is again, serverless. So like for AWS people out there, Lambda's a good good option, but Azure and Google Cloud, they both have their equivalent services as well.
So when you become the full stack developer, and do you remember the first project that you did?
Yeah, I do.
So can you tell about it?
I won't lie, it is a little bit rough. I didn't get paid very much, but to be honest, the customer's styling wasn't to my liking, and I was trying to get some real websites in my portfolio at the time. And so, I got paid a couple $100, and they're kind of a pain, but I hate to say it, that's just kind of the nature of the beast until you have a little bit better reputation on the platform you're trying to freelance on, or have a better portfolio. Kind of what I actually ended up doing was I just make these parody sites. So it wouldn't be a real company, and I have full control, and it could be a little bit dull, especially if you're just looking at website over website after website. So I try to make it a little bit more fun. So I kind of, if you've seen like a lot of these vitamin shops or whatever, where it's like alpha male stimulant, guaranteed gains. So I just made like this super over the top vitamin shop, and then another one's being prior military, kind of get like why there's some kind of out there defense contractor company. So this one I made up, invented, was a defense contracting company that would arm and train chimpanzees to conduct guerrilla warfare. But it's just silly things. A lot of people thought it was funny, and it at least get them to reach out and contact me. A lot of times just telling me how funny they thought the website was. But to be, I enjoyed building it, and it's nice to be able to show that to employers sometimes. Just the only thing I would say is try to keep it, don't get too edgy with it.
So from the beginning till today, you're a freelancer.
Yeah, that's how I started off. Like I said, I didn't have the formal education, so that kind of makes it a little harder. Having the boot camp experience definitely did help a lot. It's a good way for me to just get jump started into full stack development, but mine was like 3 months long. I think they have some that are 6 months, but like I was saying, it's a good way to get jump started, but you're not going to learn everything. I wouldn't expect somebody to, but it definitely gets you to a place where I think a lot of people, you can self-learn from there. And, I think you can honestly still self-learn without a boot camp, but it does definitely help a lot to get you started, to know like what technologies you need to be looking into and using.
So you said you're working on cybersecurity too. Can you tell more about it?
Yeah, sure. I'm not. I don't want to disclose the name right now of who I work for, but I'll tell you kind of a little bit of what the day looks like. So you ever hear like a PKI?
No, I haven't.
Basically, it's like infrastructure to manage like all your SSL certs. So
Okay.
managing SSL certs or TLS or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess it's like on TLS too now. But imagine handling a dozen servers isn't a huge deal, but when you have thousands of them, making sure all those certs are, none of them are revoked, they're still good, checking on the health, reissuing them, it can get pretty crazy pretty quick, especially when they're at the same time. So using platforms like Key Factor and things like that to be able to manage that. But I'll say that it's peripheral to full stack development, but maybe not exactly full stack development. Kind of a cool thing I was working on before that was making a full stack application in Joomla that would allow users to create an account that would then create an account in Active Directory, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I kind of noticed a lot of people kind of get those two confused. It's like, well, I'm logging into an app. Why do they need Active Directory? Well, it's like logging in and the app just like, verifies you with that application. But Active Directory actually controls the access to the actual infrastructure. So it's like one thing to just log into an application as an admin. It's another thing to have admin access to the actual server that application is running on.
So you worked as a network admin. So how was that experience? And can you tell some experiences about it?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
You worked as a system admin and you worked as a network admin. So can
Oh,
you
yeah,
tell
sure.
more experiences of yours, and can you tell some situations that you have faced, something like that?
Yeah, so I was working for this small internet service provider, and basically it was kind of out in the country where and it's really hilly and rocky, so running lines of fiber cable is not ideal. So what we were running is a point-to-point system where we basically have these different towers running off of solar energy, and we hang up these microwave dishes, and we have like the service modules pointed at customers' homes, and with those client radios pointed at the tower. But then we would also have these like gigantic backhauls that would point to another tower. So basically, like take all the data in the connections, and you could like use the backhaul point to another tower, and then a backhaul can receive it on the other tower and then shoot it to the next one until we
Okay.
get to the bigger internet service provider, AT&T.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of that was just network and system administration, and it was interesting. And it was for me it gave me a whole different skill set from full stack development, but it also helped me as a full stack developer to kind of understand like networking principles, how servers and machines are running on that network, and it gives you kind of a better picture of how to write your code in certain ways. And then also just for me, somebody being also interested in having good cyber and infosec, it's been a extremely good skill set to provide that peripheral knowledge, so to speak. Knowledge that doesn't directly apply, but it is useful in certain situations when they randomly pop up. Like I
Um,
guess a good example of this is like setting up a firewall. So
okay.
there's like over 60,000 different ports, right? It'd
Yeah.
be insane to try to memorize all of them. So to me, it's just best to shut down every port and just turn on the ones you need. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like a cybersecurity. I'm trying, I guess, philosophy. I guess I'm trying to think of the actual nomenclature to call it, but it's like a you know trying to think of the basically it's the idea of providing the least amount of access as possible to get the job done.
You worked as a network admin and system administrator, which is completely infrastructure side, and you worked as a full stack developer, which is completely programming. So how you are able to do both hardware and
Oh no, I
software?
did do both at the same time. Definitely not. I started off, at that internet service provider first, doing net and system administration, and then kind of after a couple of years of that, I did the coding boot camp, and once the coding boot camp was done, I went ahead and started freelancing from there. And yeah, I'd be like installing internet at people's homes and stuff too. So a lot of times they'd ask me about websites and things like that.
Okay.
Even though that's a completely different discipline, I
Yeah.
was just like, all right, close enough. I have some knowledge, and then that's kind of where I got a couple of my first customers as well that were
Wow.
actually better playing.
Okay. So then you started building the websites.
It's been at least I guess really started 3 years ago. I mean, I was tinkering before that, but that's a little over 3 years ago is when I got my first paid gig as a full stack developer. Like I said, not very much at the time, but it was a start, and it definitely gradually snowballs the more you put yourself out there.
So how you are able to understand it when you started it? Uh, how you are able to manage the servers and the front side of the website and all? You know nothing, right?
Well, at first there's a lot of frustration, to be honest, and a lot of shopping around and failing at stuff. So that's definitely part of the process. Um, Originally, I think I was using DigitalOcean. To me, I found it like a little easier to get into. But
Okay.
eventually, though, I started using AWS for the more for the additional capabilities. But even then, it's like AWS is a beast to get into. It's not for the light of heart. It's going to take some sustained effort to learn and understand what's going on there. But for me, what I would suggest people like just wanting to get started, have a server up running somebody's website, AWS Light Cell's really great. A couple, you could use a GUI user, graphical user interface, and you can sit there, spin up a Ubuntu server with WordPress already installed, or I think Ghost was another one, Magento. But you'll have plenty of CMSs that you can spin up like that and have a website going in no time. And then, another thing I would suggest for freelancers is check out Cloudflare. To me, it's just like it's an easy way to get a client to, all they have to do is you just send them an email with the name servers from Cloudflare. They go in their domain registrar and add those name servers in, and then boom, that's all they got to do and then you can add in subdomains or do whatever domain management they might need. And so to me, it's like they might have thestudio.com or whatever domain name, but while I'm building a test website, I can make a subdomain like test, the studio, or you get what I mean. But it's nice to be able to, and then they also offer some additional security there as well. Like they even have a nice little graphic chart to show how many attacks they've blocked. To be honest, I think a lot of it's kind of superficial, but it's nice, and it's cool to just be able to show a customer that sometimes.
So I'm sure working as a network administrator and working as a system administrator, you understand, you can able to understand the services of AWS very easier, because most of them are very interconnected. That's very easy, I think, because it is.
I would say easy. It helps though.
It helps. Yeah, it helps. It helps. You know how
makes it
you
easier.
understand. Yeah, you understand the connectivity, and you understand how to use different and which services used for which one. And I'm sure. Have you done any certification on AWS?
Yes, like I was saying, Lightcell was kind of where I started off at, but I also started using Elastic Beanstalk. I've been trying to get more into Kubernetes, since that's kind of like the mainstream container orchestrator. But I won't lie, for me, it's been a bit harder getting that. Like I started getting, I've been using Docker, for example, and for me, when I've been a couple times I've had a client where they wanted my application in a Docker container, they usually just handle the Kubernetes side or the Docker orchestration. The container orchestration themselves. So that's kind of like one of those skill sets that I lack in. But that's a totally different job from a full stack developer. A lot of these companies, they kind of want you to wear all these hats, and it's like really each one of these jobs. It's a whole discipline of themselves. So it's like there's full stack development, and then there's DevOps, where it's just like all you do is focusing on the scaling and the running, and the reliability of that application every day. But there is I guess the job title that's kind of in between that. I guess site reliability engineering, where it's kind of like a foot in each of those fields, where it's like you're a full stack developer, but you also know your stuff on DevOps, and you kind of help cross that bridge. And because a lot of times there could be miscommunications between those two disciplines. Like whether it's like you might build your app, but then you find out you want it to be serverless, and you got to rebuild some things.
Okay, you're saying that some job is there in between that.
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time?
You're saying that there is some job is in between that.
Oh yeah, definitely. So there's what's called site reliability engineering. That's a job you can actually go apply for on LinkedIn. And then there's DevOps, and then of course full stack development. But these are all different paths. You can check out.
So how many services you are able to manage, and how many services you understood in AWS?
Oh, that varies and depends a lot. A lot of times, I just do a job, and that's kind of the end of it. the clients got their own hosting services and stuff like that, or a lot of times they already have their own full stack developer that, maybe was just swamped or, has just hit a wall, and they, need some outside counsel to come in and, fix a bug or help with a scalability issue, things like that. But yeah, I guess for me, it's just I just been trying to, when I was freelancing, I was just trying to stay as open as possible to different jobs. And it's like, even if I did 100% no, I'd be honest with the clients ahead of time, but, tell them I'll give it a try. And if I'm not able to complete it, I won't charge anything. But, sometimes I, have to put in some late nights and, not charge for every hour I put into it. But for me, it's just like, well, I still got paid a decent amount. Maybe lost a little bit of hair, but I have a new skill now, and I have proof of work now.
Okay, so you build your skills by by with the projects that you got.
Yeah. So to be how I think some of my best clients have actually been through like person-to-person networking. Just being at the right place, right time, talking with the right people. That helps a lot. Some things I've done to that is like go to actual meetups and people interested in tech, and a lot of times there'll be people starting their own companies, and they're trying to figure out what kind of capabilities there are out there for full stack applications, or just technology in general. So that to me, that's a great time to instead of trying to sell them on stuff, just kind of explaining what capabilities are out there, and I get a lot of great repeat business that way. I use some platforms. I'm trying to think of the other. Freelancer.com was one, and then the other one was Upwork. Craigslist, is underrated a lot of times too, or just whatever classified ads is in your region. Don't be afraid to post on there, especially once you have your portfolio put together. It'll be a mixed bag, but people will reach out to you. Sometimes you'll get these crap jobs where they want Facebook, you to rebuild Facebook for a couple $100, but at the same time, respect your time, and then don't be afraid to be selfish. I hate to say that, but there's some people that they'll suck up all your time. So to be, it's like balancing that, and make sure at least if you're not getting paid what you would normally accept, and you're wanting more, and you're still starting out, try to pick projects that make sense in your portfolio. Like if you're trying to get more into e-commerce, take up some e-commerce, or you're trying to do more like user management, things like that. Maybe try to help a business, with their like customer and customer service side. It's really kind of the Wild West out there, and what jobs you can take.
So how many programming languages you know?
I'm sorry. Could you say that one more time?
How many programming languages you know?
Oh yeah. So my favorite one. Well, I guess I like JavaScript with Node a lot. Python is probably the one I know the longest. But again, JavaScript and Node. That's just I use that so much on my freelancing projects, and it's just kind of insane, like how much stuff you can do with Node.js. It's like I'm trying to remember the machine learning. TensorFlow, there we go. And it's like that was originally with just Python, but now they have a version that allows JavaScript, and I'm pretty sure it's Node.js, but haven't tried it out personally. But to me, it's just like the amount of stuff you can of different applications you can use Node.js. It's phenomenal. But some other honorable mentions. I use PHP. For me, it's gotten me a lot of jobs, stuff, and better paying ones on that, because a lot of times it's like a legacy application, or application a business has been using for years. It goes down, or it needs to be updated, and there's just all sorts of breaks. So it's nice pay, but a lot of times it could be extremely frustrating too. Kind of like almost like working on a rusty engine sometimes. But it pays a lot. And then I'm trying to think of those are the primary three languages. I mean, I've messed around with Ruby on Rails. It's I'm definitely not the master at it, so. But it for me is like the couple of projects I got into is quick and easy to get going and have something at the end of the day, as opposed to some of these others is like you have to put a lot more initial effort to get something working the first time. But yeah, definitely, especially like if you want to like get into building bots. Like I started off with using Ruby on Rails, and then I got into Twisted using like Twisted Python with I'm trying to remember the framework for Python. But I just ended up switching over to Node.js just because it's faster. A lot of websites will employ like a JavaScript to make it harder to scrape that website. So I started using Apify, spelled as like API-FY. So like you guys know what an API is.
Yeah.
So it was a nice way for me to get past some of those JavaScript tricks they put in there to prevent scraping. So that's a really good platform to check out, especially if you want to see some templates of bots that have already built for like, I think they had it for like Facebook, Twitter, Craigslist, Amazon. So, there's already working examples up there you can pull and use.
So you worked in a field, you worked in the on field, and you're working as a full stack developer. So which means sitting and moving job. So which one you like most, and how is your experience?
Well, I haven't updated my LinkedIn yet, but I guess currently I'm not. I mean, I'm not. Guess I'm not currently freelancing. I'm full-time employed somewhere.
Okay.
They both kind of have their advantages and disadvantages. I feel like with being employed now, it's like I don't have to do so much as hustle and call people and email them and do the salesman song and dance. It's nice just okay. Here's our business requirements that we need you to get figured out this week, and I can mostly focus on doing what I need to do, code up, and then maybe work with work with team members, and I feel like I get to focus a lot more on building things as opposed to freelancing. It's you definitely have to be a lot more self-reliant and go out and get jobs for yourself. But for a lot of folks, freelancing might be the only way to get your foot in the door at first until you have some more experience. But I do feel like there's kind of a lower threshold to get your foot in the door while freelancing, as opposed to a lot of these full-time jobs. It can, especially for entry level, it can get extremely competitive. But once you have that first tech job, it's pretty easy to get more jobs after that.
True. So do you remember how many projects you did in your life?
How many jobs did I like?
Do you remember how many projects that you have did in your life?
Yeah, I definitely trying to remember Supreme, that brand. So I guess there's like a lot of people really into the Supreme brand. They spend a lot of money on the clothing and stuff. I mean, not for me. I guess I'm just kind of a simple guy, but basically one of these clients, there was already some Supreme bots out there, but I guess it wasn't getting setting the bid in time. So that's kind of when I started looking into, okay, I need a bot that for speed that can, trigger a bunch of things more quickly, like do functions asynchronously instead of synchronously, like one at a time. So that's, why I started getting that Apify at first. And then they also have like CAPTCHA and, little Java, some jQuery stuff in there that would, for a pagination that would, prevent my old, trying to remember the Python bots I used to build. Is actually, let me look it up real quick. Python. It's killing me not remembering the name of it now. Python bot framework. Scrappy. There we go. Python Scrappy. That was, for me, it's like out of those bots that I was working with, it's, you still there?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
hearing you.
sorry. I thought my screen froze up a little bit. But, yeah, Python Scrappy, I thought it was a little easier to get my first bot developed and going. But I did like the Apify bots with their additional capability. And I guess another cool service they had was a proxy. So, let's say your bot keeps going to a website from the same IP address, scraping all the data. It might, eventually blacklist that IP address, just flag it as like, hey, this user's pulling too much data, and do some rate limiting there. But with the proxy, you can just cycle through with a bunch of different IP addresses. But yeah, it's a legal service that you can get through. Well, not to be the Apify fanboy, but I am a big fan. It's a lot of cool projects you can pull from there and building that for people. And I guess another cool thing I've done with that is kind of like on the cybersecurity team I'm currently on, there's a couple like capabilities we wanted that weren't built into the platform we're using. And it's just a lot of manual stuff a person would have to do and click on. So, instead of just like trying to work with the vendor to get these capabilities added to like automate certain administrative tasks, I just built a bot that could log in and do exactly what it's programmed to do, and very repetitive, boring stuff. But it's nice not to have to go in there and manually approve 100 SSL certs. So little things like that. It's fun, and to me, it's just like, especially when you start getting into bots and stuff, is just like a great way, or like even chat bots. It's a great way to, I guess, save yourself time in the future and cut down on repetitive tasks.
So full stack development means you are into programming. You are responsible for the front end, back end, and the middle end. So you are working on it. Before this, your work was completely on network administration and system administration, which is completely different from this. But both are interconnected. It is useful if you come from that kind of background. But which job you feel uh, uh, comfortable, and which job you feel you are using where you're using your maximum mind?
Man, I mean, for all of them, I'm using my mind and putting 100% into it. It's a very opinionated question. Some people, just love full stack development a lot more, and system administration, network administration doesn't make too much sense to them. And then I've definitely seen vice versa too. So and for me, I would say that for me it was about equal. I mean, they both have their kind of challenging things. It's like I guess I like, for me to get a finished project, it'd be quicker, and I guess doing net admin type stuff. But it'd be harder for me to get it'd be easier for me to start coding, because it's like, okay, I can get Hello World up now, or okay, I can make myself little, I guess shorter goals to meet the completion. So it's like, okay, I need to get this contact form to be able to collect, use Ajax to post that data to my external API. So, I can work on that small little piece and get that small piece working first, as opposed to like network administration. Sometimes it can be frustrating where it's like, okay, I have everything configured right, at least so I think so, but it's not working. So I need to go dig through everything and figure out what I did wrong. Definitely coding has that, but it's like, at least a lot of times, depending on the language you're using, it's like, oh yeah, error on, line 210 in this file. And it's like, okay, I know where to look, but sometimes in, network or system administration, there's not that helpful hint. So you have to like go through everything and see like, okay, where in the setup process did I go wrong? So I guess not to sound like a no answer, but it just all depends on the person, I guess. They all have their pros and cons.
So web development and network administration or system administration, I'm sure all these different roles of yours helped you to understand cybersecurity better.
Yeah, so me, probably not the most popular opinion, but I'll be honest. I don't really look as cybersecurity as an entry level IT position. To me, it's almost infinitely better to do like full stack or system or network administration, and then come into that field. I mean, not saying that's impossible, but
Okay.
for me, I think for a lot of folks, you'll be better in cybersecurity. Understanding the fundamentals of what you're trying to secure, essentially. So I guess I heard it. So I go to these meetups called 2600 is an old hacker magazine, but they'll have if you go to meetup.com, I don't know about other countries, but I know they got them across the U.S. And
Okay.
basically, it's white hat, so no illegal or shady stuff going on. People bring their kids to these, but they'll set up like a lab, and you can practice like doing a SQL injection or hacking a router or things like that. But I was talking with someone from one of these events, and they were telling me it's like the best thing to do is like first learn how to build it, and then learn how to attack it, and then once you understand those two well, you'll truly know how to learn how to defend it. So for me, that's just been my personal process of it made sense to me. It's like, okay, I could build this full stack application. So I started looking at all these tools, like what people are using to hack full stack applications, checking out OWASP and things like that. And now I understand, like, okay, these are how people attack applications. So this is what I need to be on the lookout for while I'm building. And it's like, ounce of preventative measures is worth more than a pound of, fixing it.
So you provide the service even after completion of the project, even after delivery of the project?
So for me, freelancing, a lot of that's, I do have some clients where I do maintain their infrastructure and stuff for them for a monthly fee. Others, I just, I build the application for them, hand it to them, and, sometimes I hear back from them for repeat business. Sometimes they're happy, or, I assume they're happy, but, or now that I'm like working someplace, it's like absolutely, 100%, well, not liable, but, going to be held accountable for what I push out there. So it's not like, I didn't do it with my customers then. So, it helped me out, caring about my customers, I guess, application security as if it was my own. So
Okay.
I guess now it's like, yeah, I just, what I'm building now, that's just what I'm thinking about is like, okay, I guess there's kind of like always two essential questions is like for development, it's like, how do I make this application meet this business requirement? And like cybersecurity, it's like, what can I do with this application other than its original purpose? So to me, it's like you can kind of boil both of those complex subjects kind of down to its essence in those two questions.
Okay. So you manage, like you said, you manage their infrastructure and you charge for them.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
You said you manage their infrastructure and you charge them.
Yeah, and some customers. I won't lie, one was my sister, so I don't charge.
Okay.
But everybody else, yeah, depending on kind of how complicated it is, certain folks, it's just like they don't have it's not a big company. It's just a small mom and pop's place. They're not asking. They don't have a bunch of applications running, so securing them and monitoring them and servicing them, it's like pretty much all automated. And AWS even has some nice billing stuff in there to where you can like separate resources and create different bills for your clients and then mail that out. But in other cases, especially where it's more complicated, and some of my clients, it's not just I'm securing their application, but they're like home network. Like I think of like CEOs and stuff that work from home, or like one of my clients is a intellectual property lawyer. So working with clients that they're what they're trying to get patented is not patented yet. So you could kind of imagine that guy's what's the word I'm looking for? What threats he needs to worry about are not going to be the same as that mom and pop place. Or if you're working with a political, like somebody that's heavily involved in politics, that certain places, they gotta worry about foreign hackers, or politically motivated ones at that, or state level actors sometimes even. So I guess sometimes you just kind of have to think about like what kind of people, or black hat hackers or cyber criminals would be interested in this type of client, and what would be some of the if I was a bad person, what from value, like data wise, can I get from them? Or nowadays, as we're all seeing, ransomware, it's like maybe there's no data worth stealing, but if this whole system of production relies on those computers or that application, and I encrypt it all, that's it's way simpler to get money from that for a lot of these groups, or as they call them, as they're called, like APTs, or advanced persistent threats. Like people are just running automated like automation tools into seeing who they get. Well, I mean, sometimes APTs can be like that, but sometimes they might do like phishing campaigns and stuff like that. So that's also to be, if you're educate your users about some of the attacks that might be relevant to them. Like, to me, I'm always explaining constantly, like, what phishing is, what spear phishing is, what whale phishing is. So kind of like phishing is just like generally sending out an email to everybody. Spear phishing is like, okay, I'm going to send a carefully crafted message to you to get you to click on my attachment or link. Or it's like, okay, maybe I need to get a CEO, but he's really smart and I can't get him to click on my attachments or links. But a secretary or somebody below him, I totally can get. And then once I have them, I can, do like kind of like basically a chain of spear phishing. That's basically the concept of whale phishing. It's like, okay, I can't normally directly phish this person from an outside account, but if I can take over like an email in an HR department, I can totally get a CEO, somebody to click on that, from an internal email. So so it's just like that's kind of another important piece, beyond the tech is, educating users around you about, cybersecurity, but also on application, and just that kind of like goes in the whole infosec versus cybersecurity. It's like not just securing your digital assets, but also making sure all the human beings are understanding the security processes as well. So infosec, I feel like, is a more holistic term to like, okay, we need to keep our data secure and not only just worry about people remotely hacking in, but doing things like social engineering. And, there's like whole specialists out there, they'll just get on a phone with a application that modifies their voice a little bit. Like, I think her name's Rachel Tobeck. If you guys are in the DEF CON, you probably know her, but she does a lot of social engineering. She has a couple cool videos on YouTube, suggest watching, but she just like calls up these companies and is like, gets them to transfer all this guy's travel points to her account, and of course prior permission first, but it just kind of opens your eyes, like, yeah, if you just ask nicely enough and have a good enough logical explanation, people will give you data that they probably shouldn't. And that's kind of just the whole premise of social engineering.
Okay.
Not exactly IT related, but again, peripheral.
I got you, and that's an important point that you mentioned. So, you provide documentation to your clients?
Well, sometimes it's just chat, but yeah, I have like some like write-ups in Word that I'll just send that, and they'll just CC that to the whole office. But to be honest, that's not necessarily one of my biggest money makers. It's like it's a good selling point to certain clientele. Like I said, there's some that niche clients are like, no, yeah, we just got hacked, we just got ransomware, and it didn't make the news, but it happens to small companies too. Like there's this guy that I guess he runs an automated like hydroponic farm for like lettuce and stuff, and he just kept getting ransomwared, and he paid each time, and it was just like, I guess the last time he didn't get his data back. They just took the money and didn't even get to keep it unencrypt everything, and so it's like, okay, well, let's look at your application here, get it rebuilt, and then come up with a contingency plan, because everybody talks about the defense, but sometimes it's also about like incident response. Like, well, when unfortunate happened, did we have a plan ahead of time of how to respond to a ransomware attack? Do we have like a offline backup somewhere that we can restore from for now? And a lot of planning for the worst can really save you a lot of pain and regret later on.
So how many clients you have?
What's that?
How many clients you have? How many customers you have?
I've been offloading a lot of them, so I'm down to 10. Before I had about 30, give or take. Yes, I think a little less maybe. There's like accounts that I was managing, not like real heavy accounts that need management all the time. It's mostly small mom and pops, but some of my mentorees now, I just been, honestly, I've been kind of running out of time, especially now I got this full-time job, and it's, so yeah, I've been kind of handing a lot of those off that are needing more attention other than just maintaining what's currently running. So that's been kind of a nice process to watch some of the folks I've been invested in, making it as well, and some of my own clients, happy with the people that I've been training up. And I guess when I was in the Army, that's one thing I kind of liked about the West Pointers is it's like each of these officers, they would always be kind of grooming a mentor, somebody they were mentoring, to take over their position once they moved up. So it's like, okay, no, that's not a bad idea. And so it's like, it's a good way to maintain contact with previous clients or, employers even, leave on a good note. A lot of times I've heard a lot of drama stories of, you're a key engineer, you leave, but they're not happy about it. And, getting a reference can be kind of difficult, especially when they're kind of a little peeved that you're leaving, especially in like a lot of these situations. It's like these people that they'll hire you and then expect you to do like the job of 2 or 3 people, and it's just like not understanding like how much work that is, even if you do know what you're doing. So it can be kind of nice to backfill as you leave places and avoid conflict.
So you have clients from your country or from other countries?
Yeah, pretty much all of mine have been U.S. based, but for me, it's just like kind of how I've been getting clients is like, I'd be on Upwork, and a lot of those clients on there, especially the higher paying ones, they're U.S. only, unfortunately. But and then like I was saying, I was using Craigslist, so I was just mostly finding clients here in the U.S. I mean, I thought about like pushing out to other places like Australia or UK or places where the language barrier wouldn't be so much, but I don't know. I guess I've been kind of mostly scared off. Honestly, it's like the couple of British clients I've had, they're both still even U.S. based. So I guess I kind of get a little nervous about taking payments overseas and stuff, and how all the taxes and stuff work. So that's kind of the other crappy part about being a freelancer is you got to learn a bunch of stuff that doesn't even involve tech. Like, oh, how do I do my taxes as an independent contractor? Oh, I still got to pay self-employment taxes and healthcare and all that stuff. And there's kind of like a lot of little business administration tasks you kind of have to learn and tackle as well. Like learning like what a W-9 form is and having your EIN number and all that crap.
Yeah.
This is like I didn't even started thinking about until I got paid until I started getting asked by clients. So just be prepared when you get into freelancing. It's going to be like drinking from a fire hydrant. It's going to be a lot at once.
So now you're not no more freelancer. You're working for a company.
Hmm.
Okay, so you're not doing that.
Yeah, so I was like freelancing for about 3 years, but now I've been working full time at this company for I guess almost 3.5 months now.
Okay.
So still pretty new there, but yeah, like I was saying, it's kind of nice just to be able to, I work from 9 to 5. I have my hour lunch break. I don't have to worry about staying up late too often to like go talk with somebody from other side of the globe. But yeah, I guess for me, it's just been kind of nice, not having to worry about all the side business administrative tasks that I normally would have to handle, and just focus on doing what I like to do, full stack development, uh, making sure our systems are secure, and just focusing on that end and letting others handle some of the business administration tasks. Somebody's got to do it. It won't get done itself, and like I said, somebody's got to do it, and it's like I'm just glad it's not me. And I'm
Okay.
sure they feel the exact same way when it's like applications and system breaks. They're like, oh, thank goodness I'm not in IT. I got to handle this. I guess that's just how it goes. But
So at last, do you have anything to say to the tech folks who are watching conversation from anywhere, or who are watching or who are listening to our conversation from anywhere on this planet, from any device or from through any medium?
I'm sorry. Could you say that one more time?
Do you have anything to say to the tech people, the technology people who are watching and listening to our conversation? Do you have anything to say to
Oh,
anybody who is into technology and who are from any country? And do you have anything to say that helps them in improving their skills or becoming a freelancer, or how to give the quality service and how to make things possible?
oh yeah, definitely. So I guess the first thing to say is don't ever give up. Just keep going. It's like for me, like I say, the first 6 months I hardly made any money, and a couple $100 here, a few $100 there, and that's U.S. based, which isn't a lot, but and it's like magically I just started getting more better paying clients, and started getting paid a little bit more, enough to live off of, and then after that it's getting enough to like do well, and now I'm just like I'm making over 100,000 a year, in 3 short years, and yeah, there was a lot of points, especially during the pandemic, when a lot of the small businesses were kind of getting killed off and stuff, and basically everybody that had a application that needed one already had it made. So it can get tough at times. Just keep trucking on, and eventually you'll get there. And then I guess the other thing I would say is like be really good with Google, and being able to self learn, because it's like even with that college degree, it's like not saying it's bad and that you shouldn't get one, but you're still going to need to learn new technology all the time. So just be prepared to be constantly learning new stuff. And I guess once you get at a certain point, you can, if it instead of it being a sprint, it's like a marathon where you can kind of casually jog to keep up with the latest tech trends. But it takes a lot of determination to get there first. But to be, it's like I think somebody that's more determined and not as smart would be more successful than somebody that's extremely smart but lacks the persistence. Because you could be extremely smart, but if you can't, if you're not constantly putting in the time to learn this tech, it's against you're not going to be able to keep up.
So, and also to the people who are into AWS cloud, I'm an AWS cloud solution architect trainee. So I know some fundamental services, and I got trained in a company recently. So I understood the EC2, uh, like you mentioned, some of the database services, some other services. So what do you say to the people like me and for watching this about the AWS services? Is it important for them to know the pro or to have the programming skills in order to understand these services and get into AWS cloud industry?
I wouldn't say so. There's plenty of DevOps, which would be the people at a lot of these companies handling AWS. There's plenty that I don't think really know how to code or even code at all. Could be totally wrong about this individual, but there's somebody that's kind of pretty well known personality, Ian Coldwater. I mean, that person, they really so how they're well known for is like breaking out of containers in Kubernetes, like hacking them essentially. But yeah, I guess that was one of the things that person was saying was, they kind of started getting the coding. They just weren't that into it, and they got into DevOps instead, which would be mostly managing a cloud platform, managing Kubernetes, serverless and stuff like that potentially. And but a lot of that you won't need the code. I mean, it'll help, but you don't have to know it, and you can still get a job. And especially if you're the master at running applications in AWS, that's a full-time job in itself. So yeah, you definitely don't need to know every programming language under the sun. It can help, but definitely not required.
So if you send your social media links that if you want me to share to my audience, I will share. And like you said, you're not a freelancer now, you're working for a company, but if you want me to share the work that you did to my audience, maybe somebody wants some service. If you are free whenever in your life, they can take your service and they can utilize it.
Yeah, I don't have too much stuff to publicly show right now, but I mean, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, I think my tag's Baron Von Byte. I don't know. I don't look at it too often. I'll occasionally, mostly it's political and tech. Pardon my, just shit posting. But if you guys got questions, I'm always open and eager to help out. Be happy to point you guys towards any frameworks or tech or new cool tools to check out because there's so many, and it's like, especially being a cybersecurity nerd as well. Oh, there's so many great but also pretty creepy tools out there. It's just like you look at them sometimes like, wow, this is kind of messed up that this actually exists. Or I guess a cool one to check out would be like Shodan. So it's like kind of like Google, but you can. It's like it'll go find like every like Windows 7 version connected to the internet right now, or just it's a pretty cool platform to check out. But I guess if you guys like OSINT, which is like open source intelligence, there's Tracer Labs, which is like actually this volunteer organization that uses OSINT, or just basically a lot of it's just like publicly available data on the internet to find like real live missing people. So yeah, if you guys are interested in stuff like that, it's a volunteer organization, good place to learn, and actually do some good in the world. So that's kind of what I love about technology. There's just so many ways it can go, and it continues to grow. Like we didn't even touch on AI or drones or 3D manufacturing, but I guess for my spill for cloud computing with AWS and full stack development, that's my takeaway. This is, I guess, my 2 cents so far.
So I'm sure people who are watching and listening to this definitely, they will follow you and they will see, they will ask, like you said, they can ask you questions and you can answer them whenever you're free. So I'm sure your contribution to this world, especially to the tech industry, helps. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to get benefit because of your skills and because of your knowledge on tech.
No, definitely, and especially after doing this interview, I'm like, I'm like thinking now, I'm like, man, I guess I really do need to start making some of my repos public and start sharing a little bit more. But like one I'm working on right now is so Gatsby with Shopify. It's like I had it successfully working before, but they like updated the API and stuff, and so I'm now like diving back into it to try to rebuild what I get what I had working before working again. But honestly, that might be a good candidate to set up. Shopify is really popular Gatsby makes a lot of sense. Like I was saying before, e-commerce solution where a lot of your products are not going to be constantly being changed and updated. It has a lot of great like added SEO benefits too. So your client will, whatever SEO efforts they put in, this will help like magnify it. I guess like one thing they say is like, especially for mobile applications, if it takes too long to load, people are just going to leave the website. But with things like Gatsby or even Next.js, proving that load time, it can really you won't get a lot of the people. It'll really help out with SEO. But you guys could check out. I think it's Gatsby.org or hang on, let me check it out. Just confirm. Gatsby. But yeah, it's just Gatsby.js. It'll take you straight there. And really interesting framework to read up on. Same with Next.js, or for the Vue folks out there, Vue.js. There's Gritsum and Nux.js. But sorry not to keep rambling on. But you got any other questions for me?
Yeah, I think I asked questions that I have in my mind. So yeah, at last, have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube, and what do you say about it? Your observation?
I was checking out some of the posts, but I'm definitely going to give these videos a watch later. Like I said, I'm a big AWS fan, so especially if there's some stuff on there I don't know how to do yet. That's going to be the website I'm going to look at first now. And maybe I'll wouldn't mind giving you some my opening up some of my repos for you to share would be pretty cool. It's always nice, knowing your work's getting out there to a bigger audience, and then that they're able to use it and make their own success from it.
So, have you seen my channel? And
no, I mean I haven't.
You have checked my website, but have you seen the same name, Smatcher is Tech YouTube channel?
I haven't checked out the YouTube channel yet. I'll definitely do that. I was on your.
Can you check it right now? If you are
sure thing.
YouTube. Smatcher is Tech.
Yeah, I was on your website checking out stuff, and great looking website, by the way.
Yeah, and you can see the YouTube icon. You can click on that. You can directly go to the channel.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Subscribed. If I see all your other interviews here, I definitely need to give them a look. Seeing Jack Jenny's here, Anthony Mowowski. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. No, this looks great. It's really great what you're doing too. Like, I hate to be selfish, but it's just like I just haven't had the time to do this kind of stuff, and I don't know. It takes a lot to do interviews too. So it's a great job what you're doing, and I'm always excited to get watching others get excited about tech and helping them out and passing that language down because somebody helped me out at one time, and I'm trying to. I feel like for all of us that once you eventually learn and have that knowledge and you're successful, it's important to pass that baton down to the next generation of developers as they're coming up and help them out because we all definitely had help. Somebody all had to teach us this stuff, or somebody like you made did an interview or did a nice posting on how to set up EC2 pair keys or something like that. And for self-learners like me, that's been critical. So thanks to guys like you, a lot of us can learn this stuff without having to pay a bunch of money to go to college.
So I'll try to put as much as possible. I'm preparing and I'm trying to put in my free time. I'm preparing for my full-time job, and in my free time, I'm doing these interviews and trying to share my knowledge, not to get money, but somebody will give some compliment to me. That means a lot. That is enough.
Definitely. I know how, and I'm not sure how late it is in India right now, but I know it's not early. Well, I guess almost early, right? I guess it's like 12 o'clock at night there for you guys?
It's 1 a.m. now.
1 a.m. Wow, yeah. on a Monday night now for you guys. Yeah, that's rough. But
Yeah.
it's great what you're doing, and I'm totally excited to, having done this interview with you, and definitely look forward to following more of your posts and interviews as well. Definitely gonna watch some of these other ones too, see what that's kind of what I love about tech. It's like I'm always willing to, the more I hear people talk, the better more perspective I gain. And it's just like, I might know 90%, but listening to that talk, I might find that 1 or 2% I didn't even know that I was missing. You know what I mean? Kind of as they say, it's like you have your known knowns, your known unknowns, and what gets you is the unknown unknowns,
Yeah.
the stuff that you don't know that you don't know. As I guess, not to get too meta, but yeah, it's
And
these
also,
kind of things are great.
yeah. And also, can you check another website of mine? Instead of Smatcher is Tech, can you put Smatcher is Thoughts? THOUGHTS. Thoughts.
Where is it? You mind sending me a link in the chat window?
Same. Instead of tech, Smatcher is Tech. Put Smatcher is Thoughts.
Smart Cherry. In YouTube or the website?
Website, YouTube, mobile app,
Okay.
everything with the same name.
Yeah, no, I'm on your website right now, and I got your videos pulled up. What were you wanting me to navigate to?
Can you able to see the videos? Are you on YouTube?
Yeah, I can see your videos.
Yeah, these are my non-technical interviews.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I took
This is awesome.
more than 450 plus interviews in last 1 year.
Wow. So I got to ask, what made you decide to get into all this?
I
Start doing
mean,
interviews.
I started one day. I was studying computer networks, and I was trying to understand how these networks are interconnected and why human got this thought to create computers and try to connect one computer with another computer, and why he wanted to connect with networks with other networks. Why this whole world is connected with these networks. I was trying to understand the technology before. So before that, I want to understand human beings, human network, how human
Mm-hmm.
relations are there. How I think human created computer networks by understanding human connectivity, how they are communicating, how they are exchanging words, how the language is exchanged, how the interaction is happening, to make it more better, the computer networks better. I think it is very important for him to understand how the humans are able to communicate and what are the mediums that they needed in order to communicate with each other. Like you mentioned in the beginning, chatbot, one of the medium with which humans can communicate and exchange words and can know what is happening. What is this? All these thoughts and technology came from understanding human psychology. What I understood is. I understood computer networks, and before that, I thought to why human got this thought, why he wanted to create human networks, computer networks, and why he wanted to do this. I think before that, human understood human psychology, and then he created uh, computer psychology, which is languages, all these languages that we are like the computers are interacting, and we need computer related languages in order to uh, uh, make a computer understand each other. So I thought before understanding computers and the mechanism and the internet, what is happening in the internet, how the websites are created, how these mobile apps are created, what is the purpose of it, and what is happening, what are the algorithms, how it works. Before understanding all these things in the internet, if in the Google, I have to understand human being. Then I
Absolutely.
can make the technology better. I can communicate with. It's very easy. What I understood is understanding human being is very tough. Understanding computer languages, learning computer languages, computer related things are very easy because that are created by human beings. Humans are not
Yeah.
created by human beings. Human beings are created by God. So we can't
Sadly,
understand human beings.
Yeah, sadly we don't come with docs,
Yeah.
with documentation, which yeah, and
Yeah.
then amongst other issues about us. But I have my theories why aliens don't visit planet Earth too often, but not to get all. But yeah, no, I think what you're doing is great, and I'm even more interested to check out some of these other interviews. And exactly what you're saying is very insightful. It's not just about the tech; it's really about the people running and using that tech. And it's
Yeah.
like that's what's driving the tech, and better serving that that user base, and understanding what people need, and that's just hitting the nail right on the head, as you said. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm definitely stoked that you're doing this, and I'm looking forward to see what you got in the future too, as
So,
well as what you already have. And
mm.
it's really impressive that you already have this many interviews as well.
So whenever you're free again in future, whenever you do more projects, and when you have so much insight about how it is done and how it is made, whenever you wanted to be on my show, I will be ready anytime, and I will try to showcase your knowledge through my medium.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely keep you in mind as soon as I have some new projects I'm wanting to share. You'll be the guy to talk to.
I will learn from you, and at the same time, I will tell how it works through you to my audience, and I'm sure it will benefit my audience. It will benefit me. It will benefit you. It will benefit everybody in the world. So
It's a all win for everybody. And
correct.
I'm definitely going to learn some stuff from these interviews you've done as well. And now I'm looking really forward to watching these now.
So you're a busy person, but whenever you're free, you'll try to watch my videos. I have
So I'm
podcast
probably going to
also.
watch them right now, a couple of them at least.
I have Smart Series Tech podcast also, where you can hear in Apple, in all other Spotify, other platforms also. I'm going to put this. Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
You need me to give you permission to use this on YouTube?
Now,
You have my permission, by the way. What were you need me to do?
I mean, I'm asking you, can I put this interview on my
Oh,
YouTube channel, on my technology
apologies.
YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah, absolutely. I just hope you're going to do a little bit of editing first before you put it up. But
Yeah,
yeah, even
definitely.
without it, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
post away. You know, give you full copyrights or creative authority. I'm just happy I can help out and be a part of it.
Awesome. So if you have anything that you want me to remove, uh, uh, after this, the video will be on Skype. You can
No,
just
I'm good. I'm sure you have way more experience
yeah.
editing content than I do, so I trust your judgment.
Yeah, I will
Sorry,
put this.
I kind of have trouble hearing out of these ears sometimes. Like, I guess you've probably seen the class action lawsuit against the, earbud people from the U.S. Army. But yeah, those earplugs just weren't cutting the mustard, and
Okay.
my hearing's a little shot. But yeah, sorry if I had to have you repeat too many questions, but
No
trying my best.
problem. No problem. It's a great interview. It's a great knowledge, and it's great knowing what you're doing, and how you did, and how things works in full stack development and cybersecurity, and at the same time in the system and network administration. Not everybody knows that. Through you, I'm sure people will learn at least one point, and they can work on it, and I'm sure you will be the reason for their growth.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a long journey, but I'm always happy when others can gain from my perspective, and hoping to expand my perspective a little bit more with some of these interviews that you got done. Yeah, a lot of these look really interesting and right up my alley too, like the senior developer advocate for Amazon Web Services. Like they're always coming out with new services, so it's just always kind of like
Correct.
a struggle to keep up with it all. But man, some of them are. I'm trying to remember. So it's like I guess it helps you manage like serverless and like all your different resources. And yeah, I need to get back in the AWS. I haven't been touching it as much, sadly, since starting the new job. But Yeah, no, they're always coming out with great new stuff. But not the Azure and Google Cloud also always nipping at their heels. So I guess that's another thing too. It's like I'm trying to become more I guess as they call it, a cloud agnostic. I guess like Terraform might be another one worth mentioning out there. I still don't. I think I understand how it works, but I'm not 100% sure. I guess it's like a way where you can automate the infrastructure, like spin certain things up on Google Cloud, certain things up on AWS, certain things up on Azure. But not sure if that's how it works or if that's just a new tool that needs to be built. But yeah, it'd be awesome to be able to like programmatically decide which platform your application is going to run off of, depending on what the price is that day. But yeah, no, it's cool stuff. But again, thanks for having me, and hopefully we can do another one of these on my next project worth mentioning. And good luck. I hope you keep up doing the great work.
So awesome! It's a good experience for me. So can I also put this video and audio clip on my website, internet, podcast, social media, everywhere with your permission?
You got my permission. Do whatever you need to do with it.
So I'm sure a lot of people learn from you, and I'm sure I think you're already into the industry from a long time, and you know how the things works. I think it will be very easier for you to understand AWS services. This is my observation because it's not that tougher because you are already into full stack development from long time, and you are into the networking from a long time, and it takes very less time for you to understand AWS services. Because I already studied some of the services, I already uh, know how it works, and it will be damn easy for you. It takes very less time to understand how the service is. I think it has more than 150 service. I think so. I think you're going to learn a lot in very less time.
Yeah, no, definitely that. Like I was saying, having that peripheral knowledge, that's, you're exactly right. It, helps you learn new stuff faster. And, yeah, for me, that's been, I've been leveraging that a lot. It's like, there's always somebody that can, outclass me on a certain subject, but, just the amount of, my, I guess, width of experience, it definitely, a lot of overlay there. And when I need to learn something new fast, I absolutely can pull that off. And yeah, just for me, it's just like there's always new frameworks and platform resources, and yeah, so absolutely, like you're saying, having that peripheral and previous knowledge is key to picking this up as fast as possible.
So I'm sure you'll keep up the do work, keep up the great work, and I'm sure you'll reach the great heights, and I hope you'll continue doing what you love.
Oh, absolutely, and I wish you the same. Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna have plenty more videos. I'm excited to see them.
So thank you, sir, for giving me your valuable time and spending your valuable experience with my audience and to the world.
And thank you, and I'm glad that my content can get shared out there to everybody, and glad to be and thank you for inviting me and making me a part of this.
Thank you, sir. Again.
All right, you got anything else for me?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, until next time, it's nice chatting with you.